Bro, if I'm going to tell you that I love the new intro. Anybody?
Excellent job on that, Chris. I think it looks amazing. And I love that underneath Brandon it says Sasquatch.
I absolutely love the new intro, man. I'm going to tell you, Chris, kudos to you. That was fantastic.
Thanks.
Well done.
You always do a good job, man. Always.
I try. Once in a while, I'm not a vegetable.
So tonight's topic is turkey hunting.
Yep.
And it's, I want to say ins and outs. It's more beliefs and disbeliefs in the turkey and the spring gobbler. Let me rephrase, because turkey fall and turkey spring gobbler are completely different.
Yeah.
In the spring gobbler era. So, hey, Bronson.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Bronson.
So, in the era of gobbler, first let's start with a little bit of our own turkey experience this week. So, do you have anything, Jasvir?
Yeah, so I just started hunting turkeys like last year, like last spring season, and I had zero luck. I mean, I was completely on my own. I had nobody, no mentors or anything like that. And I had a couple of like long distance encounters where I heard some gobbles. But coming into this year, I had a really good friend of mine, Scott, took me out for our opening day here in Ohio. And we did hear gobbles, and I had a hen nearly land in my lap off the roost. That was really cool. It's like landed like 15 feet to the left of me. It was wicked. And then I went out for my second time yesterday. Sorry, not yesterday. Saturday. And I had one hen that was walking around. Everything was pretty shut down here. It's in Northwest Ohio. We've had some really crazy weather going back and forth. And a lot of the gobblers are getting henned up from what I'm hearing from some of my other friends. Like they're getting henned up like within an hour of first light. So it's tough to pin them down. It's tough to get them to move. But I'm learning a lot. I have so much more to learn. And that's part of why I'm excited about tonight's discussion, because I've been watching videos and seeing opinions on how to do things. And I agree. There's a lot of things that people are sort of split on one way or the other. And I'm excited to talk about it.
Chris, how about you?
Oh, the closest I've ever gotten is I've heard some while we were out, and mostly I hear them in deer season a lot. And we saw the two running in deer season, but I've never gotten one ever.
I'm hoping we can change that. I got a place we're gonna set up. You and I are gonna set up. I just got permission. So mine, I'll give you guys mine. My first day, we talked about a little bit last week. It was absolutely miserable. Went to two spots, and well, basically I got rained out and shut out in the first spot. And the second spot I pulled in, I've been watching this bird for years. There's always a bird at 9:00 a.m. every year. He's there. So I happened to pull in. It was 8:54, 8:55, and he ran across the road in front of me out of 7-inch beard.
Wow.
Then I went out Saturday. I just got permission I want to take Chris out. So I went out Saturday and set up, trying to see if the guy gave me permission to set up out there, out in Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. And I set up, and I just sat down. I got there a little late. I overslept. I haven't been sleeping tonight. I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a hard time sleeping. So I got up. It was dark. When I got there, it was just breaking light. I got out of my truck, put my face mask, my gloves on, and I just got to the wood line, and I heard, and I was like, oh, there's one. So I snuck in over the bank, and I dropped off the field, and I gave a fly down cackle. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't have my call with me, but basically a fly down cackle, and everybody does it different. Mine, I take my hat off, and I'll just take my call and go, and bang it off, my leg to make it sound like wings flapping.
Sure, I'm with you.
So I gave a fly down cackle, and then it gobble again, and I was like, oh, he got me, all right. So I called him. I didn't call right away. I kind of just left him do his thing. He gobbled a little closer, and he gobbled. Now, he was about 400 yards when I first heard him. And he gobbled a little closer. He's probably about 200 yards at this point. And I went, burp, 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 burp. And he went, and I went boom, and that was the last I heard him. So here, the guy in the neighboring property must have shot him coming across.
Oh,
So it was over.
dude, that's just
Yeah,
terrible.
it was dead over. Then that spot that we went to, I seen the 7-inch beard. I jumped in the truck. I flew out there as fast as I could because it's literally a half hour from one spot to the other. I get there. I snuck in another way because I was trying to find another way to get in. Get in behind. I get up over this bank, and I gave a little bit of like, and I heard this coming down over the side. I'm like, oh yeah, she's gonna bring a gobbler with him. And I never seen her hurt anymore. That was it. Just that split second. I sat an hour and a half. I think I left at 10:30 or 10:40. I almost cried. I was like, I'm done. I'm going.
They're so fickle, man. Like I knew it was gonna be hard, but like granted, I've only been out twice this season, but I'm planning on going out this week a couple times. But it's like it is crazy because they could like the hen that I saw on Saturday, like I saw her at 20. Honestly, I'm not even sure whether it was a hit. Could have been a Jake. But it was all so fast, and they just like appear out of nowhere, and then they're gone. It's amazing.
You know, if you get that hen and you super glue a paintbrush bristles there, it might be a Jake.
Yeah, here you go.
It may be
Take my ponytail
self-identifies.
and cut it off. glue it
Sorry,
on
Chris. Go ahead.
I said maybe it self-identifies as one.
there. Yeah, could be.
You know, I seen a
No,
meme that said
was it-
that.
So was it as rainy on Saturday as it was the last time we went out? Because I don't think I've ever been out in a downpour like that.
So, Jasper, I have a spot, my old turkey spot, right? Chris brings that up. My old turkey spot, I call it because I timbered it.
Oh no.
It'd take 3 miles to get back in. So I had a side-by-side at the time. And I told Chris it was pouring down rain. And he said, it's the only day you had to go out. I said, well, we're going. So we drove back. God's honest truth, 3 miles. We get up in this logging road. We park. I said to Chris, when we walk out this logging road, watch over this hill. There's this huge field. I said, they're always in the field, always. So I pulled my binocs out, and I said, oh, my God, there they are. There's 5 of them. So I said to Chris, it's pouring. What do we do? Do we try to make the run down over the hill and try to, beat them to it? Do we wait? We didn't know if they were hens. We didn't know if they were – it was hard to tell. They were really far. So we ended up waiting, and then we snuck down over the hill, and by then they were gone. So I don't know what they were, but it was so wet, Chris, if you remember. I got to dump my boots out like a pitcher.
Not only that, but the funniest thing, and I swear to God, I've never seen this. In the middle of this downpour, and when I say it was a downpour, it was coming down. We were leaving, and there was a guy sitting randomly, not like he was hiding, just sitting in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Just some guy. Yep. Don't
Yeah,
know why.
Really?
Yeah, that is
Like
true.
Sasquatch.
There was no blind. There was no cover. He was just randomly in the middle of this field sitting. And
That might be my new strategy. I just got my first. So I've never had an opportunity to go shoot groundhogs before. And yesterday I went to a buddy's place. He's got a farm and they've got a whole bunch of them. And I ended up shooting one. And the way I did it is I literally just sat in like on the edge of the field, just sat there, and then just like walked out in front of it. I was like, brilliant. But so that might be my new strategy.
So, Brandon, before we get too deep on I have a controversy in this turkey season I want to bring up, but we're trying to tell everybody's week of turkey. And I have watched some of your videos, clips,
I have some
discussions, curse words, beeps, or whatever you call it. I mean, I've heard a lot of your things go there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how yours went here the last 2 days?
Well, it started Friday on me. Friday was my birthday. I just turned 30. And
Happy birthday, man.
Happy
they say it's
birthday,
all
brother.
downhill from there.
The dirty 30.
Thank you, but I want to believe. Yeah, I do believe that it might be all downhill from here, judging by my turkey season so far. So me and my buddy Rob. That's so funny, right? So me and my buddy Rob went out. It's Rob's first time ever turkey hunting. We got set up. and it was kind of drizzly rain, not terrible, but drizzly, and couldn't get one to fire off using locator calls. But I know where the birds kind of roost on this property, so I start doing some tree talk to a random gobbler, and boom, we get three of them to fire off within 100 yards of us. So we sat, and probably I'm gonna say right around 6:15, somewhere in there, two hens pop out in the field, and I like point to me, robbing them. There's two in the field, go through whatever. Next thing I know, 20 minutes later, there is a giant tom out in the field. Beautiful. I mean, he's strutting and coming, and then he must have seen those hens, and boom, took off with those hens. So we sat there for 45 minutes. He come back through. Now this, you good, Chris?
We lost him.
I was gonna say I got a bunch of videos where these
You
part
there?
of the. Got me?
I got you
Or did
here.
I lose? Okay. I have a bunch of videos. Are they
I'm
part
here.
of the story?
That's yesterday's videos, I believe.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
here.
then I'll wait to play them till
so is
after.
yeah, no, you're good. So yesterday, so that Friday, that gobbler actually came back about an hour later and strutted the edge of the field 150 yards away from us, and there was just no good way to get to him. There's a big pass, and still there.
Squats, we're losing you, dude. You better find a new place in your house.
No, dude, I'm good. I'm losing you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
I got
good.
you. Yeah.
You can hear me, Chris?
Jasper froze. Wait, Jasper froze like this. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It was like this.
Right?
That was
That's
great.
hilarious. So anyways, that gobbler came back about 45 minutes, an hour later, strutted the edge of the field, and then disappeared. Never to be seen again. So we rip across the road. This property has a water line for the city that's 10 miles away through this property, coming off a big reservoir, which is another 10 miles in the opposite direction. So we go tearing down this road because my buddy who owns the farm texts me. He's like, yo, you guys are on the wrong side of the farm. There's a pile of birds across the street picking through the field. So we zip over there, sneak through the woods, and I've got one that I'm just clucking and popping to, and he's taking the bait, coming right to me. And all of a sudden he randomly like ducks behind this knob. And I'm like, huh. And all the rest of them just followed him. So I made a break for it, right out into the wide open field, over the top of the knob. And I'm closing the gap. I'm at like 70 yards. And all of a sudden I look over, and 3 yards to my right, 4 yards to my right is a hen. And she pops her head up, and she just starts going nuts. So I'm like, let's take a shot now or never. So I pop up, find the big gobbler, take the shot, and watch the grass 2 feet to the right of him just lay right down. Completely missed him. Never saw those birds again. So that's how Friday went. Saturday, I don't even remember how that went. We had a fox or a coyote spook some birds out of there for us. And then yesterday was the day from you know where. And that's where the videos come in, Chris.
Yeah. Those were cool.
If you wanted to play those. Yeah, there's some decent videos. I'm sorry they were kind of blurred on my settings.
And let me know if I'm doing them out of order.
I don't even know, to be honest with you.
What is that sound? A little like
The putts.
I thought putting was like a bad
Yeah.
thing. I thought putting turned him away.
No. So it can be. It can be. Like serious putts and cucks, like we'll turn them away. But there's also like a searching feeding sound, which is very common like that. I don't know. I think the gobbler fires off in this one.
There it goes.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you guys hear that little whistle whine in there that I threw in?
Yeah.
Like there's a weep. So that call right there, and I am not a master at it, but that call right there is like a everything. Yeah, that noise. If you need to learn anything about calling birds in close, it's that whine and whistle right there. So that alone, like it's just like eases the mood. Like everything is good to go, you know.
It's like, is it like, it's not like turning down the lights. It's just like closing the shades.
It's like everything's okay over here. I'm very content in where I am. So I'm not coming to you. You need to come to me. So it's just, yeah, it's more or less like the art of the chase of bringing, because the idea is the hens are supposed to go to the gobblers, right? And the gobbler is now obsessed with this hen, and she goes, no, I'm very content where I am right now. If you want something, you need to come to me. And that whine, I've had them 100 times, like be hung up, and then you hit them with that whine, and they're like, okay, and they start coming in.
Wow,
So,
that's pretty cool.
Is that wine anything like the ones you had after this day ended?
No, I had
whiskey. He had whiskey after that.
I wanted to. Oh man. So yeah, so that morning started off good. That bird just firing away, and I had 2 deer out in front of me. That one was 3 yards behind me.
That was cool. That was really
he just
cool.
kept firing off for a while. So that whine right there.
That now. Yeah, it's like ooh-wee, 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 ooh-wee,
Yep.
ooh-wee.
Here's your deer video.
Here's the deer. Yeah, so this deer right now is crossing over that water roadway. It's a buried water line, and it separates a couple of properties.
Yeah, that one there was pretty quick. The other one.
Yeah, it was like right by. I gotta show you guys this as well. I'll send
Yeah,
you
this
one.
This deer crosses behind me, and then the next thing I know, she's right over my shoulder. Like I can hear her breathing on my shoulder,
cool.
like just over my shoulder.
Now, this one here, isn't this where you can see him coming from like 50 yards or 100 yards?
You heard it.
Yeah, here it is. You can see the birds if you keep watching.
I don't know if I saw any in any of the videos, though.
Yeah, one of the videos you can see 2 birds coming. I watched them like 6 times.
I mean, they were literally sprinting to me.
Oh, I see them there.
Oh, this video.
I think.
Yeah, there's one.
No?
There's one there.
Yeah, like center frame.
One of these is. Yeah, there's one down there, and then that gobbler's firing off. And I think it's the next video where you can see the jakes running to me.
Oh, I must not have seen that one.
I think it's here because it's on a road. You can see them running through the.
Oh, there you go.
Right here. There they are.
Yeah, you can see them running. Yeah, right there.
Dude, we got to get your phone setting better because that's a shame. Those are great videos.
Were you super zoomed in?
I know. You can. Yeah.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize how bad my zoom was.
Brandon, Brandon, you're gonna have to take some of that
was literally.
You're gonna have to buy a better phone.
I'm getting there. Listen, this phone is an antique.
Yeah, well, listen. Watching this video, I'm thinking it's a flip phone.
I was gonna say it's still a flip phone.
It's not. It's not.
Don't worry, Brandon. We don't care what kind of phone you have.
Jasper, I think this is one of those bag phones, and he found a way to put a camera to it.
Oh no!
The one you crank
Yeah.
from the World War II movies.
Yeah, you gotta dial it halfway. You guys should see me try and text on that thing.
Dude, no, honestly, though, I mean, they were phenomenal videos. Like that deer, you can see that deer is like right here in your shoulder.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's just a shame because they're fuzzy.
Chris,
I could
just
hear
sent
her
you
breathing.
on the podcast. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh, I believe that. I truly believe that.
I could hear
Anyway,
her
finish your
breathing.
story. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've interrupted you enough. What happens next?
No. So all right, so the birds right in front of me where I was in that photo where my gun was up, right in front of me there's a huge drainage ditch. I'm talking it drops 75, 80 feet, right? And then there's a ravine ridge on the other side. So those birds were on the other side of the drainage ditch, which is, I'm going to say it's almost 90 yards across that thing from where I was sitting. So they come right on down the roadway. And they're gobbling, and the Jakes are looking like they're going to try and beat on the Tom, but he's big. And they're strutting right there, and I turn. I've got bead right on him, click my safety off, and I go to squeeze the trigger, and it goes click. And I was like, no.
Sorry.
So I slowly kick the safety on. And I go and I rack a shell out of the semi-gun real slow. I pop it out with my finger, make sure the next one catches, and I send it back in, right? And I put my gun up again, and the bird is still there, almost in the same spot, but now he's looking at me. Click the safety off again, go to squeeze the trigger, and it goes click. At this point, he knows something's up. And he's a track star. He is out of Dodge so fast. The two Jakes hung around for a second, but I was so pissed. And I was like, at this point now I've got my gun and I'm like flailing it around like, what the hell's wrong with you, you piece of crap? And I just like racked one really hard. And it loaded. And I was like, you know what? As I turned around, those Jakes were taking off. And I'm like, I'm not going to try and shoot a running away bird.
Yeah.
So I just let it go. And I was just standing there. I got up because I couldn't sit. I was so upset. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. So I start looking for the first round that I had tried to fire to see what the hell's going on. And I look, and the primer's got a small dimple in it, but the thing never went off. So now I'm almost wondering, now that I know what I know, if it just didn't hit it hard enough. But the second one
hand loads
is totally fine. Nope. These were Federal strut shocks. I've used them for years. Never had an issue. No questions asked. Whatever. Yeah. So I grabbed that shell, and at that point, it's funny because like when I'm really, 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 really mad, I have this handshake. Like I make a fist, like I'm gonna punch a tree in half. And I don't really have a temper, guys. I promise I don't.
No,
but
that's
like when I get really mad. I just start tree knocking. I just grab a branch and start tree knocking like a son of a gun, and then I just scream. Like, that's what you guys hear, you know. So
right in the woods at night when you're looking around with your friends, you're trying to find it. That's what you
hear. And I run out of flash, and my battery dies in my flashlight. I just get pissed and just. So I literally am like looking over all this ammo, and other than the first one where the primer's got a dimple in it, I can't figure out what's wrong with it. Like, I don't understand. Gun racked back, everything was good, whatever. But I noticed like the hammer in my gun was like a little floppy. I could see it because I've got an inertia gun. I can look down in there. And when I pulled it all apart last night, I found that I had a rock or a pebble or something in there that had broke my hammer spring. So that hand couldn't go all the way forward if it wanted to. If I had known, I would have brought a different gun. So
sure.
And then this morning in this,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. No, you go ahead.
No, you're good. Good.
What are the odds that it happened when you were loading while you were out there? Like you just you pulled a round out of your pocket and it just happened to have a rock in there when you were doing.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually think that's probably what happened, but I actually think it happened the on my birthday or the day before when I was loading because it fired fine that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So and then Saturday I didn't get a chance to shoot it at all. I didn't clean it. I didn't do anything. Sunday I think that first one tried and it got jammed, so that's why there was a small crease in it. And then when I went to shoot the second one, it just absolutely broke and was like, yeah, no, you can go over there and do whatever you do, kind of deal. So I think that's what happened. So I'm glad I didn't try and fire a third shot at those jakes because if I had, it would have been 3 and out, and that gun would be in the bottom of that 90 freaking yard ravine, and it would stay there. So just is what it is.
So I got a question for you. And I don't want, I just see our time going here, and I really want to bring this topic up while we're here.
Yeah.
So, and I want you to be honest with me. Now, Brandon, you and I hunt turkey a lot. Chris and Jasper hunt, as much as they can. But so, and I know there's viewers watching that are avid turkey hunters. So I'm going to ask this, and again, be straight. What do you think about the season being so late? Is it me or is the spring gobbler season? Now you're in New York and I'm a PA. Jasper's in Ohio. Chris is in PA. But I think that they have the spring gobbler season way too late in the season. Thoughts?
I disagree with that. I disagree. I think you guys are a week early. And it's all based on nesting. It's all based on nesting. Jasmine and Chris, how much have you guys actually turkey hunted and studied turkeys at all?
Myself, very little. So I'm still learning a lot. But I will say this. My thought on this is I've seen two things going on right now. And that is, like, I have not seen yet a single gobbler that's got, like, a harem with him. I've only ever seen lone gobblers, lone hens. And I know that it's happening. They're out there somewhere. But I have not seen anything really strong. Like, people are saying they're getting henned up, but I don't know if it's that or whether we're just seeing a delayed nesting period or possibly missed the nesting period because we had this huge cold spell that came through and then it warmed back up again. But I don't know enough about it. I'm still learning all that.
So when does your season open, David?
We open on April 22nd.
Yeah, so even that's too early. So New York State, I hear like a ton of reverb in the back. Do you guys hear that or no?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me try and turn the mic down a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
What the hell? How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. Nesting starts like usually the end of March, first part of April, right? And so the idea is that we're killing gobblers at the end after breeding season. And a female hen can have up to a max of 4 clutches because she might have to abandon the first few. Out of those 4 clutches, out of any clutch, only 20% will survive until they actually hatch. And then after that, only 20% of whatever survives will make it to their first year. So the idea of having the late season is that everything is gone to nesting already, and you're just picking up a hen that might have gotten bumped off a clutch. So that's why you're not seeing a harem of gobblers with a harem of hens. So these hens have probably already laid eggs or at least been bred once. There's a whole podcast on Meat Eater about this, and the guy was a turkey biologist for over 30 years. Okay. And he studied everything from predation, like all the predators that kill them. Did you guys know that the great horned owls are the #1 predator of turkeys, period?
Didn't know that.
I have heard that. I have read that, but I I can tell you that I've seen bald eagles maul the tar out of them around here.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. There was just a post today actually from a friend of ours here in New York that 6 Jakes kicked the hell out of a longbeard and killed him today. Like he's got it all on video. They just beat the living snot out of him until he was dead.
Gotta get your hands in that video for us.
Wow.
I will try.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, he was like beside himself about it because he's been chasing this longbeard for a week now. So anyways, the idea of having an earlier season would actually jeopardize the turkey population more. So
I've heard that.
It would really screw. When it comes to the season being like we've all bitched about it being too late for years, and then once you actually get down to the nitty gritty and study it, you're like, wow, it's not late enough. If anything, I think it could be 2 weeks further back, in my opinion.
See, I could read 1,000 articles. I'm still going to say it's too late. I watched too many times hens and gobblers paired up together, and I mean they just stay paired together. You either got to cut them off or call the hen.
Yeah, that's what turkey hunting in a nutshell sometimes.
Oh, I agree, but it would definitely be super beneficial if it was earlier. I mean, you're not going to stop that gobbler from mating with a hen. You're not going to do it. I mean, they're going to. Now, I'm not saying you can't shoot the gobbler before he mates with a hen, but in most cases, if they have their 2 clutches, their 2 shots, they're either making or breaking on them first 2.
You know what's actually really funny, though, is even though that hen might not actually stay with that gobbler. Like we say they're quote-unquote paired up, but hens actually hold sperm. It's like a whole big thing. They will hold it, and it's good for up to like 3 weeks.
Yep.
And if they find a more masculine bird, they will dump out whatever they've had that would have fertilized eggs to be bred by said masculine bird.
Really?
They don't necessarily need to pair up with gobbler. Yeah, it's very interesting. And I don't know how much sense it really makes of why they do that, but I guess it's, the strong survive kind of thing.
No, it's kind of like a buck and rut. I mean,
but I find that, yeah. I mean, in the morning, those hens are going to go to feed. Your gobbler's probably going to follow them to feed. Then they'll probably breed mid-morning, and usually your gobblers will break off and search for random lone hens that are looking to breed.
Squatch net went down.
Squash net.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's breaking up. He don't realize it, but he's breaking up bad.
He's breaking up bad today.
Well, let me bring in your video that you sent me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this was on Saturday. After I had my first sit, I then went and scouted another property potentially for yesterday morning, but I didn't end up going. But this little whitetail buck and velvet ended up coming up. Just a yearling. He's got these 2 little nubs on him, and you can see he's shedding his winter coat, and it was cool to see. He was probably only 15 feet away from me, maybe 20. And it was just nice it was cool to see it. I just was standing there on the ground. I was standing up behind a tree and just up close to it, staying as quiet and as still as I could. And what he's looking at right there, he's looking at my hen decoy, because I had been calling, and I guess he just thought it was business as usual, and kind of was walking in investigating, and then he kept turning around to stare at my hen. And trying to feel like, why isn't that thing moving? And then right around here, I think you can see his foot go down. He's like, something's up. But he's looking off in the distance, and his ears were all turned towards kind of like every direction but mine.
He was trying to hear, buddy. He was trying to hear.
That's right. So he eventually wins me. Like, I don't think it's actually in this video. I think it's later. But he does kind of like decide to take off, and he really I think the wind kind of changed a little bit, and he just busted way out. But it was cool to be that close and to get some good footage of him and just really enjoy the process. Because I also didn't realize they started regrowing their antlers like this soon in the year. I knew that they did. Obviously, they drop in the spring, and we are in the late winter, and we grab sheds, and they'll go and obviously be in velvet by September. But I never thought about, hey, when do they really start growing? And it seems like it's pretty much right away. Maybe with a very short delay, they start to regrow their antlers.
Yeah, it's almost immediately after they fall off, within a few weeks.
That's cool. Like I just thought that was the neatest thing.
That's one of my favorite things about spring gobbler hunting. So a lot of guys, I mean, don't get me wrong. I was telling my daughter, there's no better thrill than hearing that when you're in the woods. You're like, you're like, I mean, I'm like a little kid, dude. I'm clapping. I'm all excited.
Oh, absolutely.
But the next thing for me is that the deer seem to be down. It's, I always say an animal knows when it's hunting season. I laugh, but I always feel like that.
Oh, yeah.
And the deer just to walk right up to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to look and see if I can find a video when I took my daughter out for her first spring gobbler last year. The doe we had come up at 5 yards from us.
Wow.
So, Chris, you had something you want to say?
Let me ask again, because I'm not a turkey expert. How do you know? Like, no. Say you're sitting there calling, because I've had this. Sitting there calling, and you hear them answering, and you can swear that they are getting closer. How do you know when it's the time to say, yeah, no, they're not coming. I'm out.
You don't.
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris.
You don't. It's all by my opinion, and Brandon can elaborate on this as well. But for me, it's all by instinct. So a lot of times, as a bird gets close, he'll go silent. What they call silent, and that bird will continue to creep, looking without making a noise.
Yeah.
So at the wrong movement to say he ain't coming, which I have done, and then you see this take off running.
Yeah.
So my recommendation always is, from your last gobble, I have a rule anymore. If I hear a gobble that I feel is coming, I sit an hour to an hour and a half before making a move.
Wow.
Because because that bird could be with a hen, and they could be 80 yards from you, and you just didn't realize the hen and the gobbler were coming to you. Now, you made a few calls to let that gobbler know you're there. Now, what if in that 20-minute window, he's about ready to leave that hen? So, I'm always very big on that hour for sure. Like I said, I heard that hen call this weekend. So I sat an extra hour. This is about an hour 15. And I waited because I didn't know if there was a gobbler with the hen. I didn't know. Like, even if I see a hen, I have the same rule, like an hour.
Huh.
I always want to make sure that gobbler's not coming. And that doesn't mean he's not coming. I'm just telling you it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because if he flies out of the tree and he pairs right up with some hens, but you gave a fly down call, that doesn't mean at 9:30 he ain't going to come looking back for you when he's done.
No, I'm with you there. I can see that, because just like with the little bit that I've done, like on Saturday, the one bird that came in, which now that like we're talking about this, based on the behavior, I'm thinking maybe it was like a Jake or a very young tom, and like sort of like not a huge tom, but a smaller tom, because it came in quiet. And it was standing just at like maybe like 20, 30, basically exactly where it could just see around the corner and see my hen decoy. And I had been looking sort of off in one direction, thinking he would come from there, or it would come from there. And then I like decided like, oh, I haven't heard anything in maybe like 10 minutes. So I'm going to hammer on it. And I just like let out a really loud yelp. And then I hear like leaves, and I turn, and he's standing like 20 yards in front of me, just hung up like behind a bush, or it, we'll just say it, and then it just takes off, and it was staring straight at me when I called. So maybe it was like a Jake or just a smaller tom or something. But I could see why you would wait so long, because after that, my first inclination was to get up and chase after it, basically, or try to reposition to intercept whatever the bird was. But then I thought, well, if that one knows what's up, so I'll just hang out here for an hour because there's obviously birds around. So I'll just like wait and see what happens because there's somebody else might come to my call I just made.
See, now again, that's the difference between spring and fall. Again, my opinion. So, Brandon, you can chime in at any point. But so in the fall, if you see that hen and can't get a shot, 9 out of 10, there's more than one. I mean, normally there's at least 2 or 3 together in the fall, at minimal. And then if I seen that hen leaving and I couldn't get a shot, I'll tell you right now, my big butt would stand up and I'd run at that hen as fast as I can through the woods. And I would break them up in the fall now.
Okay.
And then I sit right where I broke them up and just give some. And all of a sudden, about a half hour later, they're going to all come looking for each other. And that's when you let them have it in the fall.
Isn't there there's a group of guys that will train dogs to break up turkey flocks like that?
Well, it's illegal here in PA.
Okay.
Are you sure it's illegal in the fall?
Yes, it's illegal in PA to use dogs to hunt them.
Huh. So in New York, it's only in the springtime it's illegal to use them, but in the fall you can.
There, two things. One, I remember Brandon did say he wanted to bring up something. It was earlier in the week. But before we do, what do you think of this? That it's not just the predators that they released. There's a lot of reasons why, but the reason why we're not seeing as many is just because they're just not there anymore. They're being killed off.
Well,
that's an interesting question. Because I just heard somebody, it was like a Instagram reel or something like that, and it was a guy who said he moved to, I think it was North Carolina, to turkey hunt. Like he's super passionate about it. He said when he moved there like 6-7 years ago, it was amazing, and for like the last, basically up to the last 2 or 3 years ago, it has been incredible. And then all of a sudden it was just like, but on the flip side, in Ohio, the last 3 years, the average turkey numbers were like 9,300 or so for the average turkeys taken in spring season over the whole season. Mm-hmm. And this weekend, our quota hit like 10,500. So people are still killing birds, but we're not hearing the birds gobble, and we're not seeing the birds until they're getting shot, which is just interesting to me. I've also seen a lot of raccoons this year. I've seen more raccoons. Go ahead.
No, so my thought is on this. First off, yes, our turkey population is declining. Part of that, I don't think it's more of them getting killed. I do think that the birds tend to go silent with more hunting pressure, and there's actually been studies on this on islands that, like, they'll let people hunt for a while, and just to study noises of turkeys and like how it goes down versus how it comes back up when there's nobody there. And they have like audio recordings on this island, and they'll let a couple hunters in, then they'll let a couple more in, and then they'll just back it all off in the amount of talk that happens. But I truly believe that predators and the decline in the fur market in the last 6 to 8 years, like you're talking with your guy down in North Carolina, everybody's getting out of trapping. And if you think shooting 1 or 2 coyotes a year, you're helping, you're not even putting a pinprick in the haystack. Like, it's just one of those things where unless you're running a full-blown trap line or having family members doing it, you're just shooting 2 coyotes or a coyote here and there.
I agree to that, Brandon.
nobody's out there, man. Just because there's no money in it, right? You used to be able to make a living. My buddy Tyler, who duck hunts with me, his father made a living trapping the Hudson for 25 years. Made a full-blown living. Put 2 kids through college. I mean, Tyler's in the Marine Corps, but put his sister through college, built a house, has 16 acres, went through a divorce, gave his wife half the crap. Like, the man made a living on furs, and now he's working a job, and now he's ultimately retired. But the decline in the fur market has the biggest impact, in my opinion, on turkey and deer populations and
Turkey,
issues.
small game.
Yeah, everything. How many, rabbits are not a huge thing here in New York anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting killed off.
I agree. I do agree. Like, we have bald eagles now. We never had bald eagles. We had a
that's
few.
another thing.
Like, bald eagles now hawks are protected. You got 3 times, 4 times the bald eagles coming in the area. And honestly, I think all that has effect in it. So I say all the predators, fox, coyotes, raccoons eating the eggs. I think all that plays a dramatic role in the turkey population decreasing.
So what I'm hearing you say, Benji, is that we need to have bald eagle wing night.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that on here. We'll be having those wing nights in federal prison.
I like my digs right here. I'm not gonna be doing that anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm out of that one. I like the comment, but I'm out of that one. You're gonna have to go to prison by yourself. But let me know how it is. Maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah,
right.
We'll visit.
I appreciate it. We'll hold streams from inside.
Yeah. But no, I agree totally, guys. I think that predators is a huge. Well, so I don't know if you guys just seen Barnes' comment, but let me give you this. So Barnes and I were talking. I think it was last year or the prior year. Dave's buddy went and did a setup, and he was calling a gobbler in, and the gobbler was coming and coming and coming and coming. It was close, and it got within 75, 80 yards, and he said he stopped calling. It was coming on a rope. There was no point calling anymore. He knew he had the bird where he wanted it. So he sat there. Time went by. He's like, how am I not seeing this bird? I don't get it. Like, I can see that far. So after, I don't know what it was, and I don't want to get the story mixed up on Dave's behalf, but it was a half hour. The guy decided to get up and go check. He wanted to know what was going on. He gets up. I'm too cute for jail, he said. So he gets up to go, see what's going on. And the gobbler, he was calling in across. The coyotes attacked and killed. Within that 70, I think he said it was within 60 or 50 yards. And he never heard the coyote or the gobbler make a sound. And there it was, shredded in front of him. So that just tells you how fast that can happen without even.
Well, that makes total sense to me, because on the first time when we went out opening day this year, we were on public land, and we had a gobbler at about 200 yards. He came up to about 100 yards. We couldn't see him, but we knew he was just over this little hill. And we were waiting on him. He started to come around to basically our side. So we started shifting. And then my buddy, he had a coyote in his lap, 10 yards from him. And that thing was sneaking up on his decoys. And it wasn't, and then when he saw it, he had to shoo it away. But then it ran towards the gobbler, and that gobbler, we heard several minutes later, had gone back and away, maybe back to where he had been 200 yards away, and then worked away to the east, and we never got to see him again. But it was I didn't even know the coyote was there, because the coyote never made a noise. And my buddy Scott, just the only reason he knew it was there because he literally saw it 10 yards away from his decoys. So it's challenging at best, because they could be there. I had 2 raccoons within 7 yards of me on Saturday morning this weekend as well, because they're just everywhere. And the guy that I hunt that was private on this Saturday, he told me, he's like, this year, basically, if you want to trap, if you want to do varmint hunting out here, you can do as much as you want whenever. You don't have to ask permission, just come out and shoot them, because when I was out there, I saw tons of raccoons, I saw tons of coyote tracks, and I only saw the one bird. And he was just like, we used to have a huge flock of turkeys out here, and nobody's turkey hunted the property in 3 years. So something's going on.
So I'm going to chime in there. I made the mistake one time. You made a comment. I'm going to fix the comment for you.
Mm-hmm.
Your buddy made a mistake. I made the same mistake one time.
I agree.
I'll never make it again.
Talked about this.
When that coyote stepped out, that should have been the end of your hunt right there. You should have shot that son of a gun and moved forward. Now, I personally have done it. I hunted out in a spot when it was open to public called Fountain Mountain. It was out in Tremont, Pennsylvania. And I sat up. I had two gobblers coming. I could see the gobblers at 60 yards. And I watched a coyote come out 10 yards from me, walk straight across the field, and walk right to where the gobblers were.
Yeah.
And I never shot him because I wanted to shoot that turkey so bad. Well, guess what? I didn't shoot a turkey or a coyote that day.
Right.
So, you eliminate them coyotes and you better your chances at killing a turkey, in my opinion. It's just mine again. But
no, I agree. And that's what he and I talked about later because, again, I didn't know it was there until we were done hunting and we pulled out. And so because I was sitting maybe 25, 30 yards away from him. And so when we were on the drive home, we talked about that very thing. And he said, knowing what he knows now, he would just go ahead and shoot it because you make a great point about you go home empty-handed. The other thing is if you shoo it away, there's a pretty good probability it's going to head towards the turkeys that you're trying to hunt anyways. So your hunt is done. So like realistically, take what you've got in the hand. There's one less turkey killer in the woods, and you might even get a chance to pull back out and come back in a little bit, or to circle back around and hunt them from a different direction.
Yeah, I didn't mean to start nothing with all that. I was just curious.
No, it's a great.
I think it's a great thing on what we're talking about.
Big topic.
Kill them all. Those coyotes are nasty buggers, man. They'll wreck your turkey population alone. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's crazy.
80% of the fawns, and
so there was a guy. Not to get off subject here because I know we're running out of time, but there was a guy out here, and I think it was Tioga or Bradford, Pennsylvania. He had a trail camera set up at a coyote den, and it showed. I believe it showed. Don't quote me, but I think it showed 40 or 50 different fawns that they were taking in and out of the den.
I believe it.
One pack. So think about that. I mean, think about what that could do to turkeys.
Yeah.
And Dave, I don't know if you guys seen Dave's comment, but Dave's comment is, I mean, you can't get that any more right. Why would a turkey gobble like ringing a dinner bell? I mean,
I agree. They have to be highly motivated to breed, because otherwise it's just, I wouldn't do it. If I was walking around in Montana right now, like Western Montana, I wouldn't be shooting my gun unless I saw, because that's the grizzlies out there now becoming attuned to the fact that, like, when you fire a gun, they're going to come eat that gut pile. And there's nothing you can do. You can't shoot that bear. You have to get things tidied up and moved away from that gut pile as quickly as you can, because that's exactly what you're doing. From what I'm hearing, you're ringing a dinner bell, and I'm sure it's no different for turkey gobbling in eastern U.S.
Yeah, I agree. Now I know we're going to run out of time here, but I want to show you guys something. We were talking about deer and turkey. The deer being dumb at turkey season. Can you guys see that screen? I think I have it figured out.
I can see all infinite numbers of them.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff, right? So, can you see this?
Yeah.
Now, if you look, this is my Tacticam footage. So, this is on a gun, okay? I have this Tacticam attached to a shotgun. Now, if you look to the right, you can see this is my daughter's hair. Okay? So, I have her sitting just in front of me. My gun is empty. I'm basically just using my gun to video. I didn't have it loaded or anything, but I did have it there in case she needed, we needed my gun to finish something off. So check this out. This is pretty cool. Oops, sorry. You can just see her ears at the top. I was trying not to move. She was right on top of it.
Yeah, she's like trying to figure out what are you.
And I can't move that bar. I don't know how to move it if I can. So right there, she's seen us. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Now, that there was my daughter and I were out turkey hunting. And I said, Haley, don't move. She's like, is there a turkey? Do you see one? I said, no, don't move. And she's like, why? I said, wait do you see that? Wait do you see what's going to happen? And I seen a deer coming.
Sure.
And so at that time, the reason you see the camera drop off the deer is I have one. That one there is about 7 yards. The one behind us is blowing on my neck. I can feel it spitting on me.
No way.
Oh, yeah. You can ask her. She was crying. She was terrified. She thought the deer were going to attack us. Because we were sitting on the ground. She's used to sitting in a tree stand or a closed-in blind.
Sure.
And, I mean, they were that deer was blowing, and it was spitting in the back of my neck while we were doing that.
Wow.
So that's one of my favorite things of turkey hunting. So, you know, turkey hunting, everybody gets caught up in the gobble and the thing. And don't get me wrong, it's exciting. But that there is a huge part of turkey hunting for me as well.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, like, it's a completely different time of year in the woods. It's cool to see all the critters who are waking up in the spring. Well, looks like we lost Brandon.
We lost Brandon and Chris, I think.
Yeah. Are we going to end up having time, do you think, for Brandon's debate?
What was Brandon's debate?
Oh boy, I don't know if we do or not.
I probably don't because we're at an hour. Brandon, we better bring up your debate next week. We'll just
open with that maybe.
Yeah, Chris, we don't have a guest on next week, right?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So why don't we just make that? I don't know your debate. I'm not even going to ask what it is. I'll have Chris just turn it into a YouTube thing. And then viewers, maybe we can get more involved on what it is.
Sounds like a plan.
And we'll go by that. Chris knows your debate. We'll edit it. I don't even know what it is. I've been so busy tonight. If you put it on my phone, I promise you I didn't see it. But I will tell you this. So, Brandon, I have for you a duck camo hat sitting here. I have a 2X Big Sexy Outdoor shirt. I found I have a can koozie for you.
Sweet.
Which is, and I believe there's a Sasquatch holding a gun and a deer on it.
Oh yeah,
just for you. That we printed here. I got to look. I might have a vest to send with for you. Chris and I had vests made. I don't know if they're here or not. If they're here, if I have some, I'll send one with.
Cool. We with my birthday being on Friday, my wife had some custom goose and duck calls built for me. And
cool.
Yeah, so it's funny. I have like a group chat with the guys that I hunt with, and they call me either Mallard Miyagi or the Wing King.
I like that.
So on my goose call, she got it hand engraved, or laser engraved. It says the Wing King on the goose call, and on my Mallard hen call, it's Mallard Miyagi.
Oh,
So
that's
cool, super cool.
That's
cool.
That's pretty cool. I think I would have got Jack Links.
Oh yeah. Or just squatching across.
Yeah. I like squatching. That covers everything.
Squatching.
Speaking of that, Chris, right before we end tonight, can you play that intro one more time?
Do you want it?
Yeah, Brandon, you got to comment on this intro before we go because this intro is awesome.
Let's catch it.
Here we go.
I mean, that beat, that video, I do kudos, man. I can't tell you enough how much I love that.
Hell yeah. I didn't mean to bust your balls about the slow picking one there, Chris.
No, it works.
I was just
you
like,
can't bust those things.
I was just like, Well, I did say I felt like I was going to Popcorn Sutton's funeral, so that might have been a little hard.
You crossed the line, Brandon.
Hey, in that group, listen, on a real level, in that group, we said a lot of things. I know at one point, Brandon said, "Oh, drop the mic. He went too far."
Oh, yeah.
There were a lot of things said in the last 4 or 5 days. That was a very busy chat live the other day.
Yeah,
I was struggling to keep up with it.
Yeah, and I apologize too, Jasper, but when he said you were drinking a Budweiser, man, it just set up right up. It was like right there. I couldn't let it go. I
don't even think did I even read that?
I hope. Hey, maybe it's better you didn't.
We hope not.
Maybe it's better you did. I started my voice thing with Jasper. Please don't hate me.
Oh, man, that's a can of worms.
I started it with Jasper. Please don't hate me. So you had to know right there it was going bad.
Yeah, maybe I just stopped listening after that.
It went south real fast, and oh man, we lost him for a little while, boys.
Honestly, I text them guys. I was like, dude, you don't think I made him mad, did you? It was just a joke.
No.
I don't even think I heard it. Like I'm so behind on that message line. I think I was I got so far behind already. I was just like.
So you guys know he's going through that whole chat now, right? That's what he's doing.
Listen to the whole thing tomorrow.
You guys know he's going right back to one and going to go through every one now to find out.
He literally just texts everybody. He's like, "I'm not coming into work tomorrow, guys. I got a chat."
I've got commitments. Big commitments. Very important. Very important guy here.
I got a new house to clean and a chat to go through.
That's right. Which I appreciate the grace on this because this is a work in progress.
Absolutely.
Hey, nothing wrong with a work in progress, brother.
Dude, I'm just amped to have
I've been one of those my whole life.
Yeah, well, that's what happens everywhere.
It's a skill set in and of itself. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
So I'm going to ask this just so we can end on a good note. Give us our topic for next week. Chris, when he gives us our topic, we're going to roll out with your video again, and we're going to call tonight. Is everybody ready? Next week's topic is going to be brought up right now by Brandon Deshane, a.k.a. Sasquatch. Let's hear it, Brandon. Debate is
reaping turkeys using a reaping decoy.
For or against?
Yes, sir.
Reaping turkeys.
Do you or don't you?
You didn't say raping turkeys, right? I just want to make sure.
No. Reaping turkeys.
Reaping. Okay. I just want to make sure I heard it right. It muffled over here. I just want to make sure.
Well, I definitely have an upstate New York accent, but reaping turkeys it is.
Jasper, if you're hearing this, you really don't want to go back through that stuff. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to wonder why the population in PA has gone down, but now I might know the answer over there.
You should see the population in New York.
Play us out of here, brother. Good night, everybody.
Night, guys.
Night.